Let me start by art-splaining you a little bit.
Okay.
Very controversial, first of all.
Okay.
I think my business partner actually always says, let me ask you a quick question. How many hours would it take you to take that perfect photograph? Human versus AI, what makes us human and what makes it an artificial? There's a huge word between us and the AI, which is artificial. This new rage of AI or whatever, with these new few softwares that popped up, it's just another change. And again, if you want to survive the change, you gotta be a thinker. If you're not a thinker, then you are like on the verge of being replaceable.
Good day, everybody. I'm so humbled to be in the presence of a game changer in the space of creative, actually. Today, very simply put, I'm joined by, the one and only Osama Siddiq. A round of applause, everybody. Yeah, okay. I like what you're doing with this, right? My man, today we're talking about, AI has been an interesting topic, a topic that's been in the public domain for so long now.
That's true.
Today we're going to be talking about the impact that it has on creativity and art. But before we get into this, right, what I like to do is very softly, this sort of ease our way into it, right? Growing up, what was your go-to game as a child?
I think it was, there were so many. If I were to pick out one, I think Counter-Strike probably was the one.
Counter-Strike?
Yeah.
And what console was that one?
It wasn't a console. It was a PC. It was a PC game.
Okay.
It was a huge thing at that time. It's a first-person shooting game, and it's just like you kill people, and that's it.
Really?
Yeah.
You're showing my age then. Mine was going back to the days of like Atari or in Spectrum. No,
of course,
yeah,
no.
Spectrum,
I know. My dad actually.
Definitely showing my age.
Yeah, exactly. My dad. The story starts with my dad. Like, he got an Atari back in the day. He used to work in Saudi. His brothers were back at home, and he bought, like, at that time what was like the biggest tech breakthrough, which was called Atari. And he got his hands on this thing, and he brought it back home. And I remember, like, they used to tell us that, like, everybody from the neighborhood would come to that house just to like take like one look at the Atari. Yeah. And he still had, I don't know where it went, but like we had that thing for the longest time. I actually thought it was something that's attached to a fridge or something, like the refrigerator, it was compressor or something. And then he told me, no, it's a console. Back in the day was the biggest thing. So yes, I do know Atari.
You do know, eh? Has he still got it?
No, now I know, because like it would have been it would have been a valuable piece. You could have probably sold it on eBay or something. But no, I don't know. I think it just like, yeah.
Man, I had, and I'm not going to give away what my go-to game was. It's for everyone to guess, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to give it away. But, I had the Atari, I had the Spectrum, I had an Amiga, I had a Commodore, I had, the range of the PSs and stuff. But I threw them all away. Mm-hmm. If only I just kept those cherished items, our things would have been so different, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, look, we're talking about creative and AI, right? AI and creative, sorry, not creative and AI.
It could be. Doesn't matter what comes first.
Right? But, what springs to my mind when I think of AI in the space of creative or arts and things like this is movies.
It's true.
And I think for me, I can think of a lot of different movies. Do you have as a kid growing up, was there a movie that you thought, that maybe sparked you to get into creative?
So I always say like, my favorite film throughout my life, and I think I saw this when I was a kid, like a long time ago, it was Castaway, actually. And Castaway is, like for those of you who don't know the film, it's a pretty straightforward film. The guy gets nothing special, the guy got, he I don't know how he ended up actually it's been such a long time since I've seen that film again, but he's stranded at this island, and he has to he's alone at the island, and he used to work for FedEx, I believe, and then all those packages are like, because there was a shipwreck, that's how he got to the island. Now I remember. But like, because, he keeps getting these boxes, and those boxes have like the most randomest items, and he somehow finds a way without any technology or anything to survive, like without anything to survive on the island. And to me, that was like, I don't know why it became such like it was very inspiring. I guess like his imagination was probably something that sparked that, little creativity element in me. And it had nothing to do with me ending up in this field, but that film till this day is like my favorite film.
Your favorite film? Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Interesting. And that's it's quite a simple film, right? It doesn't involve much tech or anything like
Nothing
this.
related to tech.
Okay, today, like I've had a lot of conversation with you over time about the concept of AI. We've had a lot of debates.
Yeah.
Some heated debates, some not so heated debates, but different opinions. That's the main thing, right? And what keeps coming up more and more regularly, and I was expecting to be less so this year, but definitely was the thing of last year and still exists in some categories, is the thought of AI taking the jobs. And if you think of your space, does AI take the jobs of people who work in creative or does it take the element of creativity out? Or is it just simply just a tool?
I think, of course, this probably, became like the hottest topic is AI going to take my job as a creative, now actually the numbers say that it's like 20% of the people now in the creative field actually believe that creative's going to take their jobs. I think you have to go back a bit to the concept of AI or, before all of this MidJourney or Luma or Runway or all of these things, like, suddenly this wave came and, like AI became like such a huge thing. But like AI existed, right? Even before as well. I mean, you had examples of like, I don't know what was it called, like Deep Blue or something, which was way back, an AI thingy that ended up beating like one of the chess masters, or you have more examples in the past as well. So AI existed before. I think I keep saying this, that, like, recently when all of these tools came, everybody got a bit overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And obviously whenever a change comes, like whenever a new thing pops up, we as humans, we like, change is something we don't like all the time. Right. So with this change, like especially in the creative field, like people did get a bit insecure, a lot of people. But I think, and then this is a bit controversial to say, but I believe that creatives who actually in our field who create, and there's a difference between, the ones who actually create and the ones who actually are, executioners. They are there to like get things done. I think in any field, in any occupation, any industry in the world throughout time, those guys who were actually like the guys who would do the groundwork have always been on the verge of being replaceable. And that has been in any field. Like, I mean, now the self-driving cars will be replacing the taxi drivers. There is, yes, this whole concern about the unemployment issues or other things that come with it. But the way I see it, this is the evolution, and this is the way it has always been. Like I remember my dad, like he studied print making and graphic design. Back in the day, in a small school somewhere, like, I mean, at the time it was a big deal, but this was in Pakistan. And like the jobs that they were doing for printing press and stuff, like places like, those kind of places, there were like so many people involved in the process because it was all manual. Like somebody had to check the plates. They were used, they had plates that would be inked and then 4 plates would go together. And that's how a print would happen with all the colors combined, right? So there were people who would check all the colors, all the plates, all the everything. And then came a software or a computer at some point, not AI again, like something came, a technology came, and then there you go. Now you don't need 30 people. Now you need 10 people to do the job. Minimized to 5, like 10 years later. So these changes have always been there. AI, this new rage of AI or whatever, with these new few softwares that popped up, it's just another change. And again, if you want to survive the change, you gotta be a thinker. If you're not a thinker, and it's not easy to be a thinker, then you are like on the verge of being replaceable, somebody who can be replaceable.
Interesting you say that. It was an Adobe survey that sort of alluded to the fact that 69% of people in creative think that it's complemented
Yes, exactly.
their day-to-day life, if anything, more probably on the saving time it came out with. If think of art, because art is a bit different from creative, right? With art, there's a lot of thinking that goes into it. Look, I love photography and I love art. Do you think in art that AI is becoming more, that is taking away some of the thinking process of an artist? Okay. Is not creative an artist? Or do you think it's there as a threat to those artists to be?
Let me start by art-splaining you a little bit. No, just like I think it's a very common misunderstanding as well, and I think like people in our field, because like I've studied art, so like I would know. I don't expect other, and I think like at home and like I've had this conversation so many times because like obviously when you know a field, you know it better than the other people. So there are two separate things, very separate things. One is your fine arts. Okay, fine arts is totally about I will do what I want to do and I don't give a about what other people think. Okay, that's fine art. This is my artistic whatever statement. It could be a piece of like it could be a banana on a wall taped up, and there's a statement that I'm making, and that's the most important thing. That's fine arts. Okay, it's a statement about capitalism or whatever. So that's fine arts. The other side is your commercial art. Commercial art is your advertising, which goes into anything which is sort of like a paid work, which is not about how I feel, what I think this is or what I say this is. It's not about my statement. It's more about what somebody else wants me to communicate, right? It could be in the field of game, like if it's a game design, or it could be branding. It could be in the field of advertising. It could be music. Music could be, again, both the sides. If James Bond 007, what's the franchise? James Bond, right?
007, right? Yeah.
What would you call it? 007 or James Bond, If 007 James Bond approaches you and asks you to make a song for them, even if you're Radiohead or Billie Eilish or whoever, now it suddenly became a commercial art, right? But every album or piece of music that Billie Eilish, for example, produces, that's her on this side of art, your fine arts. So I'm taking an example of something more commercial, but in the field of like art, like painting and whatever design and stuff, it goes to paintings versus, like as in paintings that you do where you express yourself versus paintings that you do where you express somebody else's communication. Okay. So with both of these things, creativity is present in both of them.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
You corrected me now.
No, but like I just want you to visualize for a second. So there's creativity and then there's two sides of art. One is about me, one is about them. And below them now, there's this layer of tools that we have, like paintbrushes. Now we have MidJourney. Now we have ChatGPT. Fine arts, believe it or not, fine artists are actually now people, like some people that I know, I mean, it could be an anecdotal thing, but some people that I know are actually who are fine artists, like brainstorming their ideas of they want to make a statement about a political statement about something. Let's say they're brainstorming with ChatGPT. What's like, like 5 other ways. I thought of this way. Is there another way of communicating what I feel? Okay. And because they already have an expression of like whatever, however they paint, they do a mosaic or like pointillism or the style that they have, they actually brainstorm with ChatGPT to come up with let me choose my word correctly, to refine their thought. Okay. And I think this thought refinement is something that has been integral in both of these sides.
Is it cheating though?
No, of course not. Thought
being
refinement.
Controversial, like cheating. I mean, I don't mean cheating.
Yeah.
Cheating in italics, okay? But the reason I say that is because AI, take ChatGPT as the example. You put something in, and yes, it saves time, and it brings a lot of information collectively in one place. But when you're creative, there we go, okay?
Yes.
There's a certain level of emotion that goes behind a piece of work. You're smirking here now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. a certain piece of emotion that goes in a piece of work that might take a week, a month, a year. And if you bring in elements of AI into this to sort of reduce that thinking time, maybe to inject something that might take you 3 weeks to get to that point, but it takes you in 3 seconds or 3, yeah? Do you not think it just loses that finesse a little bit?
Very controversial, first of all.
Okay.
Look, I think my business partner actually always says, or quotes this example, which I really, really like as well, which is that he always asks that, like back in the day, like not actually back in the day, like I'm the worst person at Formula One. I'm sure this guy here can wet this, but the pit stop time,
yep,
I think a year or two from now was like probably a minute or something. And now it's like seconds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you tell me, is there something bad about this, or is there something that they're lacking with that pit stop? I mean, the car's running, right?
Mm-hmm.
Still running the same, probably even better, but the time has been reduced. It's not cheating. For me, this is efficiency. As I said, I think this whole rage of AI is more about because three of these softwares, or what do you call them, applications, launched left, right, and center. ChatGPT, Runway, MidJourney, and DALL-E as well. It's 4, 5 maybe. They launched, and then suddenly this whole thing about AI started. But as I said before as well, this is basically just another one of those steps. That's it. Another one of those efficient changes. That's it. Probably like take Adobe, for example, like Photoshop or Illustrator or the whole Adobe suite. There was a time before when it was like, it would take you. I remember actually, one of my teachers used to tell me that, what you can do now on Photoshop with one click used to take me. And actually, this is a real example. This is one of the earliest Photoshops. She had a book which had, 20 steps how to do a drop shadow. A drop shadow, mind you, is one of the simplest things to do now these days. You can do it on Keynote or PowerPoint. It's a drop shadow. But to do a proper drop shadow, you had to follow like these tons of steps, which were in a book. And you could do them. It would probably take her, I don't know, like 30 minutes or 15 minutes maybe, realistically, to do a drop shadow. Now it takes me 5 seconds. So it's not, sure, it took the book away or whoever was involved in writing or making that book, their job away or whatever. But then system just became efficient. It always becomes efficient. This is
really?
evolution.
Because, this is, like, I used to do part-time photography, right? In my own time, street photography, when I used to travel a bit, I used to take my camera out, take shots. There's two sides to it. I used to get so frustrated having to go into Lightroom and think, okay, where do I start? Okay, I'm a novice, and I still am relatively a novice. AI can help me put together some very nice visuals from a raw footage. Okay, fine. That might give me the traction outside if I was a serious photographer. Think, okay, how do I get myself noticed? I'm going to use AI to sort of maybe empower and enhance my photographs. But then there was the other side, where I would spend hours on one photograph. Hours. And then I would like, damn, that looks so nice now. This is perfect. And then there's a sense of pride. You put it on Instagram, you're like, wow, this is good now. This is exactly what I wanted. It's taken away that spark though.
Nice, perfect. Let me ask you a quick question here.
Oh God, he's taking over the show.
Let me ask you a quick question. How many hours would it take you to take that perfect photograph?
To take the perfect photograph?
Yeah, like that perfect photograph. Like
I would take it in the moment. Okay.
Yeah, but like you said, like it took you hours,
To edit it, yes.
Okay, to edit it. How many hours did it take you? Just roughly.
Look, sometimes, they say like 4 hours.
And he's not a skilled, obviously, you're not like a highly skilled editor.
No, but I would love to be.
I know. But still, it took you how many hours?
4.
Okay. Have you seen those, the paintings that they used to do? Like in Louvre or Vatican, right?
Yeah. Like Mona Lisa. Yeah, you Mona Lisa?
No, let's talk like more like sceneries.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Or yeah, even like some, not
Mona Lisa.
Mona Lisa is a different ballgame altogether. But the amount of hours or days or months it would take them to make that painting? it was a lot. It would take them months sometimes to complete it. And so, like, there are pieces from Leonardo da Vinci which are not even completed till this day. Like, sorry, till this day. He never completed. He couldn't find time to complete them. So, look, probably Leonardo da Vinci would say the same thing about you editing those pictures in 4 hours. He would be like, but it took away the moment, when you were there with the canvas and you're actually capturing things with a paintbrush, you're feeling each and everything, and that's the perfection.
That's the thing.
Yeah, but then photographs took it, right?
Okay.
And the same way, the AI took it to a next level or whatever. I call this evolution. Do you want to hear the story of art evolution?
Go for it.
Okay, because recently, I went to, Paris and Rome, and strictly the point of this trip was just to explore art. Okay, because I've been studying all of these things and I wanted to actually see everything that I studied. So this story is simple. It started, obviously I'm gonna skip the prehistoric times or whatever. But art majorly took off when they started. They used to back in Greece and stuff, they used to worship those Greek mythology gods and goddesses and stuff, and they started making sculptures and paintings depicting them. Okay, and those sculptures are they're there to show power. You have those big marble sculptures with depictions of masculine bodies, and if you stand in front of those sculptures, you feel that power that they're trying to show, right? And then came the Roman Empire, and Roman Empire all of a sudden was let's exploit this and use it for our advantage. So there was a huge political agenda. So your Caesars, they started using the art. They asked the artists to now show us in the same way. How you show Hercules, show me. That's when they started making those sculptures and those paintings about your Caesars, your lords at that time, or the kings, and all of the people for political agenda. And then those sculptures, the same masculine, huge, majestic, powerful pieces of art would be used for political agendas, right? Moving forward came the Christian influence, and they took the Roman Empire down. And at that time, the Pope asked the same artists to now do the same thing that started with the Greek mythology, then became the Roman political agenda thingy. Now it's at the point where they were like, now we want to show the Christian stuff with the same style. So they started showing again the same realism, the same style, the same sculptures, the same anatomies for biblical purposes. So, and you will always see there was this distinct style of something or somebody who was always the hero. May it be Hercules, or may it be Caesar, or may it be somebody from the Bible. And now when you put everything in perspective, you see that there's always a portrait of your president or whoever, and it's always shot in a certain way. That portrait has a certain background. It's not next to the fields,
No,
you don't see them next to the field. There's always a way it's done, and I felt like I could suddenly put everything in perspective. That's the next that's it. That's the next way to exploit, use art for political agendas. You show them in a heroic and in this proud, pose, and the lighting is perfect, and there's a background which is dramatic, and it's almost like a painting. So your focus is on the face.
Yes.
So look, this is an evolution. I'm taking the example of obviously, the portraits and arts and stuff. But even with the sceneries or the paintings turned into photographs, beautiful photographs, turned into even better, I feel, executions these days, which are done through the help of AI. And I'm sure in the future, it will be more about people not even taking pictures, but materializing their vision through AI. So there's nothing wrong with materializing your vision through AI.
I get that. Okay, I get that. There's some bits I don't agree with.
Okay,
because there's the bit of these sculptures, and there was different forms of machinery or technology at that time, right?
Chisel and hammers.
Exactly, right? And there's a sense of being very authentic. Nowadays, when I look at Gen AI photographs that come out that are you put your prompts in and you get it. I just don't like them. I can tell immediately that, and it's a matter of opinion, but I just don't feel that it resonates really nicely with me to think it's natural. It just feels more forceful.
Yeah, but because like it's not there yet. I mean, when it will be probably now, if you have a keen eye, these days you can detect if it's not AI. It's becoming way more natural. There are some, by the way, experimental AI models, which are still like in beta phases and stuff, who are creating images, especially not videos yet, but images which are like super natural, not just beautiful, but very natural. Look, you spoke about how you just don't feel it's the same thing when people are writing commands.
Yeah.
Tell me something. How is chisel hammer versus somebody who's really good at writing commands different? If you are really good at, that's the new thing. Mm-hmm. Now your chisel and hammer or your technique has to be how good are you with the commands? Like, I feel like the future of craftsmen, okay, not the thinkers. Thinkers will always be thinkers, but the craftsmen who would do stuff on Photoshop before and now their jobs are being taken by AI. Basically, the next craftsmen would be people who are really good with prompting.
But commands meaning prompt.
Yeah, prompts.
Sorry,
right? Yeah,
prompts. Really though?
Yeah, I mean, you need prompters now. I need prompters. If anybody's watching as a prompter, comment below.
But you put prompts in.
Yeah.
But you're also guided by ChatGPT to help you create those prompts.
Yeah, but you're the one asking ChatGPT for stuff, right? ChatGPT doesn't just pop out of my phone at any given time. I command ChatGPT to do something. It's like an assistant. It's not your boss. Like, it's not your, it's not even your partner. It's always your assistant. Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm on the fence with this one.
Look, I think human versus AI, the biggest differentiating factor is what makes us human and what makes it an artificial. There's a huge word between us and the AI, which is artificial.
Yes.
Which is artificial. Which means that they will never be, I mean, I never say never, but like it's still an intelligent system that brings things together and creates something, not even creates, like it just brings things together in front of you. Whatever you ask for, master. So you're still the master. It's an artificial, I mean, it's like a coffee machine, man. For me, it's like a machine where you press the button like, okay, I need a cappuccino. Now I need a mocha. Now I need whatever.
Dude, don't get me started on coffee machines. That's another ball game now. It's another ball game, right?
Yeah, it gets the job.
V60s and these.
Gets the job done. Yeah, no, I'm sure. Yeah, of course. I know what you're gonna say.
Especially in this region, we love our coffees in different ways. We don't just rely on the machine.
That's true. That's true. Look, good craft will always find its way to be appreciated. Till this day, when you have, these amazing brands doing amazing things, the shoes and, the clothes or whatever. But still, there is handmade, bespoke. There is still value for these things and they will always have that value. But that market will always be for the people who are highly, highly skilled. So I, in a way, kind of like this shift where just like regular skilled people who were there, not pushing, limits every single day or not going to the next level, pushing themselves to the next level, just like are going to be irrelevant. These people were always, by the way, insecure. And this is as controversial it is. I have in my career, always you come across people who are insecure. They are insecure about everything.
Yeah.
And they try to pull, whatever they can pull to still keep the job that they have.
Of course.
But now with the AI or whatever, it's, it's just again, controversial. Hate to say this, but it's almost trimming the fat.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
That's it.
Fair.
And I can say this as a business owner, myself. Yeah. It is something which, because now I am on this side where I am running the show with my partner, but now I see things for if AI is helping us produce more work and better work, I now need people who are great at prompting rather than people who are, great with whatever skill they used to be. But at the same time, thinkers are always thinkers. They're always there. And yes, we have thinkers. That doesn't change the thinkers.
Of course.
Because their life is uncomfortable. Their life is not easy. Their life was never sitting in a corner, just like making a thing happen for days and just quietly being very comfortable.
Yeah.
Thinkers were always uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, I think at least certainly in our lifetime, we won't see AI to the infinite capability. I think there'll always be an element of limitation in AI, especially like, irrespective of whatever sector you're working, whether it's pharmaceutical, whether it's in medicine, whether it's in creative, whatever. I think there's always going to be a limit for now anyway. But I just want to go down a different route, Osama, because I got to know you many months back, and we hit it off quite nicely. Although you had a different hairstyle back then.
That's true. I had long hair.
And I got to know you. I got to see a different side of someone who quite clearly had been through quite an incredible journey to be where you are and what you're doing right now. I don't want to give too much away of this. I would love to know like your personal journey as in just before you got into creative and what tech was available at that time to what you're doing today.
I think, yeah, I mean, look, my journey was, and I think this is linked to what I was saying before, which is like, I don't come from like a very, like a privileged background or whatever. Like with us, like we always had to like do things for ourselves, me and my brothers, and it was all about like it's just you gotta do it, or unless otherwise it's not gonna be done. You gotta make your way, pave your own path or destiny or whatever. So when you have that kind of a mindset, I guess you're like hungry. And I think for me, being uncomfortable and being hungry was probably like the way I was, running with my life always.
Mm-hmm.
So I would always find a reason to be uncomfortable. I would always find a way to, if it's, a lot of people in our field are like, I don't like presenting. I don't like talking. I don't want to be in front of a crowd. I become blank or like, I just like freeze in the moment. And that happens to everyone, honestly. It happens to me as well. But there were two things I could do at that time, right? One was like, okay, like I'm never going to do this. I'm always going to shy away from it. Second was like mess up a few times, 99 times probably. And probably I did. The 100th time, I will get, a little bit better. But if there is a progress, I will keep doing it because that's the way I would work. Okay. Even when I was in the university, I was, I would mess around with the softwares or the tech side of art or communication. And I always had a knack for these things because again, it would make me uncomfortable that, okay. And then any software, for example, I would know how to use, I would be like, yeah, perfect. But there's no use now. I have to go to the next and be in that state of like all of those phases of like, this is the worst thing in the world. Like I can't do it. And like crying and like, feeling like shutting down your computer and throwing it in the sea or whatever, and then eventually making progress and then getting a hang of it and then becoming a pro at it. For me, this was like my drive. Like this gave me, it was an addiction to feel that feeling of like, now this is in my control. I guess I'm a control freak.
Yeah.
But yeah, it worked. So this feeling of like, being always putting yourself in this cold shower or being uncomfortable always like had me, be in the situations of stepping up to a point where I, would always look for the next uncomfortable thing. When I was back in Pakistan, I was like, okay, I mean, I understand I wasn't at the top or anything in Pakistan. It was still early for my career, but I understood that it's like, this is the height here. Like I need a little bit more room to fly.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, perfect. The next big thing I see was Dubai. It was, the perfect place for me to come and the clients had budgets. They were more open-minded. They wanted to do bigger stuff. People wanted to win awards. I came here with all my dreams and, I did this thing with the CV where I, should be another podcast for that. But yeah, I mean, I made like a very creative CV, which is in my, on my website as well. And, because of that, I got the job. But I think what's more relevant to the conversation for today is that when I got the job, I was like, yeah, like bring it on, like I was at one of the top advertising agencies in Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I made it, So my chief creative officer at the moment, the guys there, they do this session where everybody brings in award-winning creative ideas for any client every other month. And I was like, this is it. That's my moment. I'm going to, this is it. That's what I was waiting for,
Yeah.
Back home, like my wings were tied up and now I get to open and fly. And it took me like a month to make that presentation and I got all the ideas. I was so pumped and I was there and I presented like 5 ideas and everybody laughed at me. Like laughed in a way that like they weren't there yet. And for me, that was probably like something that brings your confidence and everything down so much. And, you're almost like, it's like, that's it. Like all my career, I thought like I'm going to go out and I'm going to fly. And I thought I was the best or whatever. But the best that, your best is not the best. It's not enough. And I was so depressed and not depressed, but like I was very sad that day and that evening. And I remember I was like going downstairs from the office. I was in the elevator and it just happened to be that the chief creative officer of that agency, who would only come there for like a few days or whatever, he was flying back to Lebanon. So he had his bag and he was in the elevator with me. And he probably doesn't remember, but it was like I was there for like, the elevator ride must have been like 1 minute or something. Okay. And the first 30 seconds were quiet. And then he just looked at me and he said, Osama, this is it's like a sport. Messi was not born a Messi. It's, it's like any other sport. It's all about the practice. You just need to practice. Keep practicing and you'll get there. And that's it. And he left. And I think that day and the next 3 months, I didn't show up to any of those sessions. I went underground and I started watching each and every award-winning case study that existed. And it took me 3 months, but I think I saw like almost like at least 50% of all the years and all the case films, like day, night, eating, pooping, whatever. I was watching them all the time. And when I came back to the session of, those award-winning ideas, I presented like, I think 4 ideas and out of which 3 got produced. And nice. 3 got produced and they became like, one of those big award-winning ideas. And one ended up on CNN, one ended up on BBC the next days. And,
Wow.
So it does pay off. Being uncomfortable pays off.
Yeah.
Being hungry pays off.
I guess that's why AI is quite good. It's making people feel uncomfortable, right?
Yes. Yeah? Exactly the point I was getting to. That going back to the AI thing, it makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Be uncomfortable. Don't choose the comfortable path again.
And when you left Pakistan, that must have been uncomfortable for you as well to come here, right? Of course. How did your family take it? Because coming into creative, in Pakistan is very different from when you come to Dubai, right? I'm Pakistani by background, and I know the different cultures are involved in some things, and there's taboos as well, in different fields. How was it for you?
I think for me it was like at least this side of the journey was a little bit easier because my parents are a bit open-minded, and also for me there was my brothers, like we because of Hollywood and media and everything, like we did grow up in like sort of like a global culture sort of an environment. My university was like in Pakistan, was very, very open-minded, and people from all around the world would come there and lecture or whatever. So I think for me, with this thing, it wasn't a big thing. I think it was like, it was cool. But the job or the work, that is actually something that would become like a, big challenge, and that I, accepted.
Yeah. And it's incredible now, fast forwarding. I'm thinking everyone can get a sense that Osama is sort of like you said, you like to be a control freak, you were saying, in some ways, right?
No, I say that?
It's something like I need to rewind back.
Yeah, exactly. But that's exactly what I said.
I think what you said, that your destiny's in your hand. Yeah. I'm just looking at your tattoo there. To live as a monster or to die as a good man. That links to your element of risk taking and being uncomfortable.
Yes, I mean, this is actually a line from the film Shutter Island.
Okay.
Like at the end, when if you've seen the film, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to spoil the film, but at the end, there's a state of confusion. Let's put it that way. This line for me was the last line of the film, which makes the film all of a sudden an open-ended film.
Okay.
But this is more about toxicity. This is more about a toxic relation, which could be with your employer, your employee, your spouse, your cousin, your friend. But it's about toxicity.
Okay.
It's basically about, I mean, to live as a monster, to die as a good man, is about knowing when to pull out from something. Knowing when is the right moment. Not too soon, but not like when, I mean, you hear these examples of people who were, working all their lives and they for so that they can have all the money in the world to do the best stuff or whatever. And then now when they have everything, they're too old to do the things that they wanted to do. And now they're just like, I guess with all the money, having the best medical attention that they can get, rather than having a rave, being on a rave in Ibiza or whatever.
Fair. So now you are at Lion, correct?
That's true.
It's your own baby.
It is.
It is, yeah. Of course. He's got a tattoo there also, yeah?
My name means the lion, actually, as well. It happens to be. Not the reason why we named the company Lion.
Let's talk about that journey, because I find it very insightful, very enlightening as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's look, again, like Dubai has been one of those, it's actually a place where I would call it the land of opportunities. I don't know what it means, or like I don't know why they used to call the US the land of opportunities, or like whatever. But like for me, this was truly like the land of opportunity. I came here literally with like shit, I sound like one of those old people now, huh? I came here with 5 dirhams and look at me now. I've done it. I actually had that, journey where I came here with actually a loan. I had a loan, a bank loan. And, cut to 7-8 years that I worked my way up. And now, I have a good, I had a great business partner actually to begin with, so that all of this was possible. And look, the journey was, we all, like, as in any field. And actually, I was always like, I would always pull this out like as a joke to a lot of people, that there's always, in every advertising agency, there's always 2 designers sitting in a corner talking about how the whole agency runs because they're there.
Okay.
They do all the work. And on the other corner, there's also the office boy who also sits there and thinks, if I don't make the coffees every day, the office is going to like go down. It's going to burn. A client services person on another side of the room says the same thing. Everyone in an office thinks that they are the ones who are running the show. And it's only a matter of time when they start saying, you know what? Let's just buy 2 computers and start our own company. Everybody wants to do their own thing. Nobody wants to work 9 to 5 for somebody else when they see that I make the difference, but I get pizza slices at the end of the day, right?
Sure.
So, but I also felt that you also need to know what you're good at and stick to what you're good at. I'm bad at a lot of things, but I do know like thinking, whatever you want to call it, like creative or out of the box thinking or whatever. That's what I'm good at. So I would stick to that. I don't know business. I'm not a businessman. So I would always say that unless I find somebody who's really good with business, only then I will get into, like even think about starting my own independent agency. And I think, who else other than, my ex-CEO, a guy I would get like 5 minutes with, ended up calling me and, we got together and we talked about it. We talked about it actually for quite a long time, like the structure or how we would want to position it and how we would want to make it different from everything else that's going on. What's the edge that we would have? We don't want to be just another small independent agency down the block. We want to come in as lions. Hey, wait a minute. That's a cool word. Let's call it Lion. Anyways, so
is that how it came about?
Yeah, sort of. Let's put it that way. No, actually, like my business partner, we came up with 3 names, and
Fine.
the board chose Lion. So
Okay.
it just happens to be my name, but like there were other 2 names as well. Nobody chose them, so whatever. But yeah, I found the perfect person who has handled creative agencies across regions worth like 500, 600 people, employees. A person who can handle that and who can grow business, like, how, he was the chief creative officer, cut that. He was a chief executive officer of one of the biggest advertising agencies in the world, and the number 1 advertising agency, network agency in the region. So that guy, when comes in, then you're like, okay, this changes everything.
Yeah.
So we thought a lot about how we could differentiate from the regular stuff. And I think you're all of a sudden you're drawn to like all of these rebellious, very cool rebellious independent agencies in the world who almost like have the same flag as we had, the same agenda, which was that advertising agencies at the moment are sort of broken. Their model is broken.
Mm-hmm.
They're too slow. They're like they're not quick. They need to be faster. And my creative partner actually used to say this a lot, that the grave for these advertising agencies is always going to be there in front of them because they're too slow. They're always going to fall into this trap because they're too slow. The reason why they're too slow is because they belong to, the back in the day, there was mafia of these, agencies, and you want to stick to one agency, and your marketeers weren't, super, like educated about how things work on the other side in advertising agencies or whatever with brands. They would be like, okay, we'll just pick one agency across countries or whatever, and that would work, and one agency in one country, and that's how it works. But like time passed and marketers got more intelligent, and they basically realized that, wait a minute, like these guys are ripping us off. Like we don't need to work with them, and especially while they're not bringing us innovation.
Okay.
They keep bringing us the same thing over and over again. We live in an age where 90% of your content, actually more than 90% of your content, is vertical, right? But we're still making those expensive, huge scale films. Why? Yeah. We make them and then we cut them into like vertical formats, and they look crappy and they're not designed for. And this whole thing about people looking at an ad and skipping it like the next second. Why are we doing that? Is that the actual, like, are we doing justice with our clients? We're not. I think the reason why I have like this tattoo which says skip, it's a skip ad button.
Oh yeah, skip ad.
It's because of the fact that, like 98% actually of the people skip ad on YouTube. 98% of the people skip what we think as marketeers or advertisers, we think is the content that they would like. And they skip it to go to the content that they actually like, which could be like a Coldplay music video, a concert, karaoke, whatever, They skip the content that we think they like. How are we so wrong being in the field of communication? Like probably 10 people on the brand side of marketing and business or whatever, and then like 20 people on the advertising agency side. Collectively, these 40 people are wrong about that one piece of content. They couldn't get that right. While we sit here talk about like what's the right camera to shoot this, and what's the right script for this thing or that or whatever. No, this is not a brand platform. It has to be something more different. Like it's not big enough of it. Yeah, but people are going to skip it. Like, do you realize you're getting that your basics are wrong? So the model is broken. It's clearly broken. And I can speak from creative, from the creative side, obviously. But for me, it was like, we're not doing justice. We're just like trying to make the client happy or whatever. So why long story short, the thing that we stand for is called the brutally creative. We say that we are the brutally creative. And why do we say we are the brutally creative is because we belong to the word of brutal honesty in creativity. Okay. Because we believe that we even like changed the word insight in our, communication, and we call it the brutal truth. Because we want the client to be brutal with us when they tell us about their product, when they tell us about their service. So we can actually do justice. And we tell our clients that we're going to throw at them something which is going to be the right thing or the truth. They probably end up hearing stuff like the first slide says, people hate your product. Let's start from there. Your product doesn't have a good association in their minds. Yes, it sells, but it only sells because it's cheaper. If somebody comes in tomorrow with a better communication or more honest communication, they're going to go there. Let's talk about these things, If you're not going to get these basics right, and if people actually hate your product and you end up telling your agency, we have the number one product in the world, the strategy is going to be wrong, the ads are going to be wrong. And on top of all of this, to make the systems more efficient and faster with Lion, we are brutally efficient. That's where all the AI stuff comes in. That's where the fact that we actually invest in, as I was talking before, prompters, your senior prompters, your prompt directors, because those are the guys who are going to run the show now. So we got to invest in them. They're the ones who are making things faster, more efficient for our clients to get them better results. Getting things approved faster, not having so many layers in between of okay, now it's going to go for retouching and now it's going to go for the animator to do this. No, man, just make now, I think a couple of days back, we wanted to present the client a film, an idea for a film. We made the whole film on AI, not to be launched, but man, if they see the film put together with the right music made through AI, voiceover made with AI, script written by AI. By the way, it's beautiful. And obviously the image turned into videos through AI, but all done in a day's work as well. But it wasn't a basic film. It was a beautiful film because the idea behind the film was beautiful. The concept was beautiful. The format of the film was beautiful. So it didn't really matter what kind of you just needed it to sound a certain way in a certain tone. So you had an idea of the script. So it was all generated by AI and the client saw it and we sent it to the client the next day and they were like, wow, that was fast. Where is the presentation? And we were like, no, it's a video. What do you mean a video? Just play it. And the parent whoa, can I post it? No, you can't. But do you like it? Yes, we love it. Perfect. That's amazing. Sold.
Yeah. So take that. Let's expand on that now because you're talking about something in a client here, right, in this region. This region is a bit different, atypical from other regions, other markets. Our previous guest, and we were talking about how very dynamic this region is compared to some of the other most mature markets in Europe and perhaps the US and Australia. When we think of AI, in your space, there's a different level of adoption in different markets, different countries. How do you think AI is having an effect in creative in this region? We don't want to talk about talent. I think we've spoke about talent, but what impact are you seeing AI is having in this region compared to where we might see is having positive effects in some other regions?
I think it would. I don't think if this region would have any different effect than other regions. It's going to have the same effect. The way this region is, doing their, especially in the field of creativity, everything that they're doing in the world of advertising, it's almost on the global standards. So I don't think it's going to bring any different change.
No. Okay, interesting. Because in different fields, they've seen a hit on AI in some ways. It's prescribed in some job descriptions, for example. And what does that mean? It kind of means that if you've been in the industry space for quite some time, and suddenly your role is kind of changing because you need to adopt AI, and you have a graduate who has been mastering AI as part of their academic journey. They were going to supersede the guy who's been behind the desk, creatively thinking, been a mastermind by a lot of great ads out there. Suddenly he's been superseded by a guy who is good at prompts, right? You think that's going to have an effect?
Let me tell you something.
I love it when you turns that around to me.
It's in the past few days we were having these conversations about looking for better tools and better AI stuff to solve stuff or whatever. I think like you would understand, like anybody would understand looking at the landscape that you don't have to find AI. AI will find you. You're whatever occupation you have or whatever job you're doing, your AI will be integrated in your whatever you're doing in the future, and it will make things better. So right now we are in the initial phases of AI, having that breakthrough or whatever. It's not perfected yet. When it's perfected, it will be integrated in everything. You wouldn't even know it's AI, but you'll be like,
it's never going to be perfected though. I go by this famous quote, Steve Jobs. God bless him.
My man.
Yeah. Okay. And it resonates across anything. He said, the technology you have in your pocket today will be the worst ever technology you'll ever have for the rest of your life. And that's on mobile devices. And that's so true, right? It's the reason why we are on the iPhone 16 now, right? Okay, it's meant to be getting better and better and better. Technology gets better and better and better. So the AI we have today, like you said at the beginning, is always going to be an evolution. So it's never going to be perfect.
Yeah, which is fine. And it will evolve, which is for us, better for us. I think you also have to think how good it is for us, for humanity. Not just about creativity, but AI in other fields, like for hospitals, places where your life can be actually saved because AI is now involved. It can do calculations. It can do all sorts of tests or like get better results, customize about you at the moment where you really need it. Instead of a human taking a decision for you, which sometimes could be good, yes, because of the emotion, but sometimes it could be life-threatening.
Yeah.
So AI with the evolution is actually probably going to save lives as well. But we don't look at that, right? We are humans. Burn the witch is what we say when we see something happening, which we don't understand.
So dramatic with that. Like, come on.
Probably need to start the podcast with that. No, but that's us. That's humans. Like throughout time, this is what we do. Like with something we don't understand, we say it's magic. It's kill him, burn it. We don't understand. Throw it. That's the first reaction. So that's it. Like, I mean, it's going to save lives. It's going to make things better for us. It's going to make experiences better for us. We wouldn't have to look at the traffic or have that driver's fatigue or stress when we go back home because there's traffic. We're going to be sitting in the back seat. The car's driving itself. We're probably watching something on Netflix and being happy. But hey, we're just always going to question new things because it's new. That's it.
Talk about new things. For those who are listening or watching, okay, for those who want to get into the space of creative, okay, like what piece of advice would you give them for one thing? And then the second piece of advice, what tools, AI tools, should they be exploring now? Not the mature ones, but the ones that they should be thinking about, right?
Okay, if you want to enter the field of creativity...
Now we're showing your age, by the way, when I'm asking this question on newbies who will be coming into the space of creative, right?
Okay, but you're talking about like graduates, like fresh grads and...
Whoever wants to come in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, look, everybody's creative. Every human being in this world is creative, okay? When you're put in a situation where you are restricted and you have to get out of that situation, we all become super creative. That's what creativity is. Okay. But when it comes to this field specifically, it's a muscle in our brain, creativity. That's how I always feel. You just have to work out, make it more muscular, flex it, So how you do it is by, again, going back to the thing of being uncomfortable. And it goes back to you basically... creativity is not about learning tools. I'll be very honest with you. Creativity is not about reading those books that you think are about creativity. Anything that says it's for creativity, it's not for creativity.
Okay.
Like any ad that says it's for want to make money faster. 5 minutes and you make billions. Doesn't work.
Okay.
Creativity is everything other than the actual field or the actual work that you do or the actual ad that you produce. It's everything other than that. It is a lifestyle. It is that walk that you just took, unknowingly ended up at the wrong corner of the wrong street, and he just started exploring that street. And the most randomest thing that happened to you during that day, the most randomest radio station that you turned on and started listening to and started enjoying, those spontaneous moments. Creativity is always like it brews or builds as much as you get out of that comfort zone or get out of that, routine or get out of that everyday stagnancy of life. Stagnancy, is that a word?
I don't think it is. I'll check it out.
Well, sounds cool. But anyways, anything that gets you out from your routine will make you more creative. It's not about the tools.
Okay.
But when it comes to the AI things, AI tools that can assist and help you create your vision, I'm sure there are many out there, including, by the way, I mean, if you're talking about creativity and advertising, there's a lot. Like 11 Labs is there for voiceovers, brilliant tool. Also, like, I mean, the free version provides you with a lot of, options, like tries to like, do stuff. MidJourney for images. DALL-E is there. I haven't used it a lot, but MidJourney, I'm talking about the 4 or 5 essentials that I use on the daily basis. So it's ChatGPT, of course. Your life is incomplete without it. MidJourney, obviously for images. Runway or Luma for videos. And what else? 11 Labs for voiceovers. I guess these are like the most essential ones.
Awesome. It's been great. Look, I've just got one little bit before we sort of end this, right? I'm going to present you with 2 cards. 2 Brew Byte cards. Okay? You're going to choose one. And beneath one of these cards is a question. Either a question left by the previous guest or a question that will be posed by ChatGPT. ChatGPT, actually, he knows a bit about you. He knows about Brew Bytes brand, all that. I'm saying he, but it does. You're going to choose one of these. Okay.
For sure, then.
And we have a couple of minutes to answer the question, or more, you have a couple of minutes to answer the question. So I'm going to place these here. Let you choose which one. And let's see.
Which one is it?
I'm saying none.
Okay. I'm going to pick this. So I read the question or you read the question?
No, but you just show what it is.
Oh, it says ChatGPT.
Damn. Okay, so I have
AI wins yet again.
Already spoken to this guy and asked him something about you.
Okay.
Hey, Osama. Welcome to Brew Bytes.
Hi, ChatGPT. Thank you.
Here's a fun one for you. If you could invent a piece of technology to solve one of the biggest challenges people face today, what would it be and why?
This is probably the best one that I was thinking. Sorry, because like I literally have a list on my notes for all the things I want to use AI to create at some point of my life. The best one that I had was basically a schooling system for kids, designed everything with AI, and it is so it's basically like a super customized journey for your kid based on how they react to things, which is educational.
Interesting.
But it's not like a maths class or a science class or whatever. It starts from a very early age. I don't know if it's like an Apple Vision Pro thing or sort of sound like a Black Mirror episode, I know, but I'm sure there are ways to make it much more, friendly. But all in all, it's a system which learns as your kid performs. Simple things, even as little as how your kid writes things, how your kid, I guess, the colors he chooses to draw something, even some things as tiny as that, it would pick up and it would start slightly deviating that kid towards that side of whatever the expertise the AI, understands or guesses that the kid can perform better. And I feel like you don't need humans or teachers to assess a student based on their understanding and capability. I mean, I'm sure there are good teachers out there, nothing against them, but I'm sure there is like a lot of teachers who are great with teaching, but they are not like great, your what do you call them, a career guidance or like student counselors or whatever, So imagine a journey from your childhood till your university, which creates which actually gets the best out of you by using machine learning.
Interesting.
Nothing more than that.
Interesting. Definitely a subject for another day, because we can go so much into this with you, but maybe I need to get a teacher on that one.
Yeah, maybe.
Habibi, thank you so much for your wisdom on AI and creativity. I found it so enlightening, so refreshing to hear. Been a few controversial.
Yeah, we expected a few fights, but it never happened. Yeah, it feels like you're convinced with everything that I said.
So. Let's say that for another day. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you have been watching, subscribe, share, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.